Greg,
Welcome back.
good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're going to talk about another recovery we did not do.
We did not do, but I actually talked to both Brian and Ed while they were out on this one and got some good information. So I can explain to you kind of what happened since you weren't there.
Yes.
We often get out on videos on recoveries like this, and the guy that wants to be recovered isn't real talkative, doesn't always tell us what's going on. Sometimes ashamed of the situation they got themselves in. Sometimes they've been waiting for a couple hours and they just want to go home. They don't want to talk about it. They just want us to get them out and go home.
Are they blocking it out?
You
Traumatized?
know, maybe. We normally have some kind of pictures to prove that it really happened, and stuff ends up here on YouTube. But occasionally we do get a guy that wants to talk about what happened or tell us a story. And I guess I can fill in some blanks, but here's a guy, Steve MacWithey, is actually an entertainer here in Las Vegas. I had to Google his name. I suggest you do too. He's quite an entertaining guy, and
he's making a living as a performer, and I'd like to go see him.
Well, if you had recovered him, you'd have been offered tickets like Ed and Brian were.
I missed it. Okay.
So this is actually an interesting video. Steve's going to tell you kind of what happened here, and Ed's wife Kendra is with him, and she shot most of this video while they're working. Story I heard later was he was out the night before doing a little prospecting on part of his land, trying to find his way back, and you'll see in this video his nose is just off a set of railroad tracks.
Yeah.
So he drives off the edge here about 1 o'clock in the morning and gets a ride home, talks to a friend, calls SNORR the next day. A couple guys go out to recover. This is what they pull up to. So
it must have been a heck of a ride.
I think he's going to tell you about it, actually, because he had some gear in the truck that almost hit him in the head, I think. But he's going to tell this story way better than I am.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here from this disaster with the Toyota 4Runner 2000, doesn't matter. Was out here at like 1:30 in the morning, and my maps was telling me that I was about 40 feet this way to the west. And I come up on this ridge, and I realized that it was like disappearing. The road was gone, or the terrain was gone, and I stopped. Like, kind of felt like a Looney Tunes thing where it was like, bam, and it just like went down. Luckily, I had the auger in the back right here, and it flew forward, and like the headrest stopped it from like impaling my skull. That was kind of scary, crazy, and I had to like yank it out of it like went almost through the whole entire headrest.
Oh, wow.
So, like right behind my head. And then I called a friend of mine that was out here, but he had nothing that could pull me out. He's just a side-by-side and like a dually. And so I sat here and just kept calling people over and over and over. And so I had a friend of mine that came in from Vegas to rescue me. And he's got a bigger like Dodge Ram, but it was like a 1500 with a towing capacity to get me out. However, not the weight that it would take to pull this thing like with just a tow rope. So we just left, we left here, but that was at like 7 in the morning. This happened at 1:30. So I was sitting in here, just like this. Like I felt like I was coming back into the stratosphere, kind of, from the space shuttle, going straight down. And I was sitting there like stuck.
So how did you hear about SNORR?
A friend of mine, actually, my friend Justin Sojourner, he got stuck with his girlfriend in a dually coming from like a desert event about a year to a year and a half ago. And I was hitting up like everyone, just going through my phone, just like, hey, can you help me? This is my situation, because no tow truck company was like doing anything to help. And so he's like, yeah, we got, he called me and he's like, dude, I got it. Like these guys pulled me out like a year and a half ago, and they were really fun and they were really cool. And it was like, that's how they get their rocks off, it was like coming to help people. And I was like, no way. And that call was at midnight last night, so it was like 24 hours after the accident, like a little bit less than 20 or a little bit more than 24 hours after, or a little bit less. But so I went on the Facebook page and the Instagram, and because it was like midnight last night, so I wasn't gonna call anyone, that late, and I was already back in town. I was safe at home, so I was like, in the morning I saw the number and I was like, call us first thing in the morning. So I called like 7:45 this morning and talked to Carlos, and and he was like, yeah, we got you, man. I was, like,
yeah,
wow.
It's good that you were near the side of the road.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Stevie.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm like, oh God, is this ring derailed?
Here we go. Pulling up on it. That's Dawe. That's Ed Dawe.
That's Ed Dawe.
Ed Dawe.
Yeah, in the white Jeep.
Yep.
And then Brian's going to be in the Cherokee.
Getting set up.
That's
Waivers
Brian
being
Valentine.
signed.
That's a tough angle. And when I looked at it, I think I would have to call somebody to see the best way, because you could pull the rear axle off if you're not careful.
So this is actually an interesting hookup, and I think they called multiple people to get input from multiple people. And even with input from multiple people that are not on site, the guys on site have to make the final call. And I don't know how well it's going to show in this video, but they had an interesting hookup. So they used 2 winches, and they came across the ground behind the vehicle and actually had used some straps laying on the ground and went under the vehicle and hooked up to the front A-arms.
Right.
So as it's coming up over the ground, it's actually lifting the vehicle back up from the front end. And then they had a second winch hooked up to the trailer hitch on the 4Runner to stabilize it as it was coming back over. So yeah, you're right. It's an interesting setup.
Yeah, very smart how they did this. And I would have had to ask for help on that setup. And well, we're going to watch how it goes, but they did a good job on the hookup.
They did, and I'm glad Steve did such a good job explaining how he got there, because I couldn't have done it justice.
Here we go.
So what are you guys doing on the recovery?
So we're going to hook up a 30-foot yoke on the bottom and lift from the frame towards the engine side. And then we're going to do a double line pull with my Jeep.
Got it.
Say that in the group chat. Say that.
No.
Yeah.
You know. What did you say, Brian?
I said I wish Greg was here too.
Me too.
I think they were being a little sarcastic.
I don't think so.
I think I'm one of the people that they had looked for some advice from, and
I wish Greg was here.
I think they did that just
Wow.
for the camera.
That's kind of epic. Not one video does anybody ever say, "Hey, I wish Brian was here," unless it's Brian Corsetti
I'll do
or
that.
Brian Glicken or one of the other Brians we have in the group. That was.
We have enough Brians, though. We could just wish Brian was here, and it covers half the group.
Well, that was a compliment, and you can't dismiss it that much.
Maybe they just wanted me to run a camera. I don't know.
I thought that was cool. So yeah, here's the hookup, like you explained.
Yep.
And they got it rigged up, and what they didn't mention is they hooked up to the tail hitch. That's what Ed didn't mention there, but they did. And here we go again.
You can kind of see the second line in the air there, hooked up to the trailer hitch.
Kind of tough to estimate resistance on this one, though, because that's probably 6,000 pounds, but it's such an angle.
And you're pulling directly against the bank. And it's hard to tell in this picture, but the vehicle is actually kind of in a notch. So right there, it looks like the dirt and rocks are up against the quarter panel, and we're dragging it through the rocks. But I don't think they caused any additional damage to the vehicle. There was plenty of room, and it came right out.
All right. I'm going to pull a little bit.
Who's working Valentine's winch back there? You got a remote?
He is remote.
Remote, okay. That makes sense. There it goes. It's already moving.
So commonplace on a recovery like this is to hook up, put a little bit of tension on it, and then reevaluate. See if you're getting the movement that you want. And I had talked to these guys afterwards, and like you said, they weren't sure it was going to move the way they wanted it to.
Right.
But once they started putting tension on it, it was coming right up.
Yeah.
So they took a break, took a look,
Yeah.
did what it wanted. They continued pulling, and it comes right out.
Double line pull, which is smart because it's got to be more than 10,000 pounds.
Double line pull from the front to actually get it up the hill, and then I think Brian's just a single line pull on the trailer hitch, mostly to stabilize it and make sure, since they're pulling down low, they didn't want it to be top heavy on the back end and tip sideways.
It's gonna kind of lever it a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very smart.
And I'm always amazed when you get multiple recovery vehicles with winches and pulleys. You can put a lot of recovery effort on with a couple vehicles.
Now we're always lucky when things don't come out damaged, but that could have caused a lot of damage to the bottom side of that 4Runner.
You know, I saw another video you did of what not to do, and if this wasn't,
Hit kind of hard.
you know, I think he said that some of that damage
Prior
on the
damage?
front end and rear was already there.
Okay. Almost there. Almost there.
Brian, what if it rolls back into us? Right, you heard me?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, okay.
You know, there's a lot of recoveries, Brian, that get done and they kind of are old hat, same process over and over again, and then every now and then you see one that you wish you had been there.
That's
This
cool.
this would have been an interesting one to be there. I'd have liked to have meet Steve. He sounds like quite a guy.
I got to go to the show.
Yeah, you know, I'm not even sure where his show's at, but I heard he's a great guy, and not only did he take care of these guys for helping him out, but he offered Ed and Brian tickets to his show. So I'm going to hope Steve gets stuck again and calls us, and we get to go help him out.
Easy. We don't want him stuck again.
He didn't seem too heartbroken over it. He
No.
may enjoy it. If he gets to take a look at this video and
And here's
share
some
it
after
with,
photos. Yeah, he's got a great sense of humor, and his look kind of reminded me of Pauly Shore.
I got a feeling he's going to share this with some of his friends and pass it around. So.
Yeah. I got to go see his show. And, you know, the guy's out in the desert looking for stuff, and, you know, that was a heck of a ride. And,
He enjoys some of the same hobbies I do. He's just got a better job.
yeah, he does. And interesting, he couldn't find a single tow company to help him out.
You know, that's kind of commonplace, Brian. We hear that a lot, and
Yeah.
that's where Southern Nevada Off-Road Recovery, I think, was originally founded, is there's a gap between where off-road enthusiasts are stuck
Yeah.
and the highway where tow trucks will help them out. And,
Yeah.
and you know, our goal was not necessarily to get these guys home. Our goal was to get them at least back to the highway.
Yeah.
In most cases, vehicles are drivable when they take them home. Sometimes we take them out to meet a tow truck, and I'm not sure Steve knows how lucky he really is here, though. If you watch enough of our videos, you'll see that we have had vehicles leave on trailers. We've had them leave on tow trucks.
Yep.
We've had people go to the hospital. And, you know, I tell people in situations like this, when I come across them, just be glad it's not worse.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we've seen worse. The fact that you weren't injured and you get to drive home is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I got to go look up his show now. If you come to Vegas, you're an off-roader, go see a show by another off-roader.
Yeah,
Not too
there
many
you go.
guys out there.
Google Steve and look him up and go see his show.
Get some tickets. Greg, it was good. Well, we didn't work together. We filmed together. These guys did the work.
They did the work.
Good job.
We just get to talk about it.
Ed Dawe and Brian Valentine.
Yep. And Kendra, Ed's wife,
Kendra.
out there playing paparazzi for us and taking some video.